So it's almost 5 p.m. on Easter Monday where I live, and I still have almost 5 hours of work left to do, and I have to get up early tomorrow, so it's quite obvious, I think, that we should be playing another bridge hand now and not do anything else. So we will try hand number B-26, and I really hope that this doesn't depend much on interpreting the opponent's bidding. Well, okay, it does, but I think preemptive openings are a little more universal than like Michael's qubits or whatever we had yesterday. Yeah. Mm. So West has a 7 card hard suit, and East supports the hard suit, so he has the remaining 3 hearts since 3 are enough. The hand is probably distributed a little uneven when it comes to the suit distribution, since East went to 5 hearts voluntarily, which is a bit risky, given that we have the majority of the high card points, obviously. So let's see what we have here. We play in 6 spades. I need to watch. I need to look from South's perspective, obviously. And there are 2 clubs and 2 diamond losers, potentially. Well, the 2 diamond losers we could rough. Possibly after drawing trumps, even. I mean, trumps could split either 2-1 or 3-0, but I actually suspect that even if they split 3-0, we are still able to rough our 2 diamond losers after that, since the trumps in dummy are high. So an over rough is not a big issue. So the most obvious strategy would be to win this trick in hand, cash 2 high trumps, maybe draw all the trumps in the process, then play the king of diamonds, and then rough the final 2 diamonds in dummy, roughing a heart to get back to south. That's like the most obvious play ever. Now should, since this is a level 5 hand, of course we should ask ourselves what could go wrong. And I strongly suspect this 6 of diamonds lead by West to be a singleton. So there is a chance it might go wrong if West has all 3 missing trumps, since then two rounds of trumps will not be able to draw all the trumps, unfortunately. And West might then rough the king of diamonds. So that's probably what we should be thinking about. Well, there's absolutely no point in losing this trick, since East just returns a diamond, West roughs, and we're down. That's never gonna... That should never be allowed. Okay. So we can adjourn the thing for one more card, but now we should start to make a plan how to deal with this danger. Given West has a 3-7-1-2 distribution. That's basically what I implied. Because, well, if West doesn't have all 3 trumps, I think we're fine. And I think we should actually just play the ace of spades right now and just test if that's the case. Because I think if like East has all trumps, well, if East has all trumps, we could actually just cross in clubs, play the ace of hearts to discard one of our club losers, and then maybe play the diamond from dummy instead of from our hand. But I strongly suspect East to show out, actually. So let's see if that's the case, and I think we can think further then, yes. So East shows out and pitches a diamond, which also implies that East has enough of them to spare, which strongly confirms my suspicion that West might rough the next diamond. So of course we could draw all three trumps from West. But then we only remain with one trump in dummy to rough one of our diamond losers. The other diamond loser will remain. Which is not so great news. Is there a chance that we might establish a club? Maybe. So we know, given that West Diamond Lead was a singleton, which is almost certain at this point, we know West's distribution. It's a 3-7-1-2 distribution. Also meaning that East has started with like a 0-3-5-5, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we know exactly the distributions of both the opponents at this point, which is good. So East has 5 clubs, meaning establishing a club in dummy is highly, highly unlikely unless we are able to pull off like a squeeze or something. Which doesn't seem completely out of the ordinary. In the minor suits at least. Because, well, we can... After drawing trumps, we could maybe, or immediately even, doesn't we? No, not immediately, since East will always return a diamond. But after drawing the trumps from West, we could consider just ducking one round of clubs, since squeezes basically always only work in case we don't have more than one loser that we need to worry about. We should also have threats in both hands, which would be the case, because dummy would have the threat in clubs or hearts. I don't know which one, but I think clubs. Since West surely guards the heart suit and nothing else. So I think hearts is pretty pointless. But clubs. East is when I duck one round of clubs and win the next round of clubs with the ace, West is out of clubs. Meaning East is the only player guarding both clubs and diamonds, which is already a very promising situation in order for a squeeze. The question is, how do we cash our diamond loser in, or cash our diamond winner in case East discards diamonds? Since I have 2 diamond losers, the 2 and the 3. And I need to rough one of them first in dummy. I need to have only 1 threat card in diamonds, not 2. The problem with this whole plan, of course, being that once I, after drawing trumps, play the king of diamonds and ruff a diamond, it's actually quite hard to return to hand. Maybe not. I mean, I could duck a club first. Well, not immediately, of course. I need to draw West trumps first, but if I do the whole club duck, which I have to do anyway first, then I can still win a club return with the ace, obviously. I can still win a diamond return with the king. I can then proceed to ruff a diamond. Yeah, if that, and that's why I need dummies low 2 hearts also, since if East returns clubs, I win it in dummy, need to ruff back to... No, I can return to hand in diamonds, that's silly. Can just return to diamonds, ruff a diamond, and then do 1 heart ruff back to hand. Or maybe first play the ace of hearts and discard a club, and then do a club ruff. Maybe that's the better order, since I don't want to shorten hearts. I want to shorten Eastern clubs and diamonds. But then I would have no entry back to dummy, unfortunately. Yeah, that's sort of the problem, I guess. If I draw trumps and ruff and duck a club, East will just happily return a club and destroy my only entry. I do have one other entry to dummy by ruffing a diamond. But is that sufficient? I don't think so. So what? Ducking a club isn't really helping, I guess. I could, of course, finish drawing the trumps in dummy. Dummy's trumps are equal to mine. But what does that exactly help me? Since which is actually the card I want to perform the squeeze with. If I just draw trumps and duck a club, East is going to return a club. Destroying my entry in clubs. Then I can cash the ace of hearts and discard a club. So now I'm out of clubs. I can ruff a club back to a hand, play a diamond, ruff a diamond in dummy. But now East can easily just guard both the clubs and the diamonds, no problem. So I need to keep that ace of clubs as an entry, which is a problem. Because that means I cannot lose a trick on purpose. I think what they say is rectify the count. So if I draw trumps and then play the king of diamonds and ruff a diamond immediately. Now dummy is out of trumps. Does that have some merit? Without voluntarily giving up a club trick first. But the issue is we don't have any other valuable cards in either clubs or diamonds to like force East into playing to a fork or whatever. That's just not an option. We don't have a 10 or a jack in either suit. Does hearts play any role in the whole process? I can't imagine that. I mean, West has a 7-card heart suit and he doesn't guard either clubs or diamonds, so all he can remain with after we draw 2 trumps from West is hearts. So there is no threat in hearts whatsoever. It can basically only be a squeeze on East between clubs and diamonds. I would really love to like play a play the squeezing card from North, the squeezing winner. Not South. Because then East is the one who has to make a discard first, before me. So one obvious candidate for that would be the Ace of Hearts. Maybe that's the thing. Like, if I just draw trumps from West, switch to the Ace of Clubs and play the Ace of Hearts. Well, there's East will then remain with a shitload of cards, unfortunately. Well, I could end drawing trumps in dummy and ruff the 2 of hearts in hands first. I could even do that twice, actually. Does that help? Because it shortens East's hand for sure. Maybe that's not all that bad. Like, cross in spades, ruff a heart. Cross in spades, West trumps are hereby gone. Ruff another low heart in hand. Of course with the high trumps, because the low trumps I need to cross. Then at least we have played 4 more tricks without committing ourselves. And then we can play to the Ace of Clubs. And then play the Ace of Hearts. So that would be... We have 11 cards left, that would be 6 tricks further. So East will then at that point have to come down to 5 cards. Yeah, they can only be clubs and diamonds at this point. And we already played 3 rounds of hearts and East only has 3 hearts. So it will be either 3 clubs and 2 diamonds or 2 clubs and 3 diamonds. Does that help us? And I counted this correctly, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, I don't even desperately need to switch to the ace of clubs. I could also switch to dummy by means of playing the king of diamonds and ruffing a diamond. The problem with that, of course, being that I expose myself in the diamond suit, which I don't really want to do. So I desperately want to duck a round of clubs first, actually, to east. I mean, east at that point will have to return a club, presumably. So switching to the ace of clubs isn't necessary immediately. I can duck a club first and then win the return with the ace, which brings us even one trick further. So if I now play the ace of hearts after that, uh, east has to come down to 4 cards. Does that change the calculus? Slightly, since east needs to keep 3 diamonds. Meaning east has to discard a club, I suppose. I will also discard my final club loser. Yeah, and then I ruff. That's it. And then I ruff my last club from north. So east is now out of clubs, and I still have an entry to north by means of a trump which I can ruff a diamond with. And so I then play the king of diamonds, ruff a diamond in trick 12, and in trick 13 east remains with a diamond, while I still have a club in dummy. Yeah, that's it. So I actually need both of my low trumps now to switch to dummy twice in order to ruff 2 low hearts. And the reason for that is that I need to play as many tricks as possible before I execute my squeeze plan. So I need to delay this whole drawing trumps process as long as I can. It's it's basically time wasting, like in soccer. so so I want to drag it out for as long as possible, without committing myself. And then once I'm done with that and roughed the second heart from dummy back, I will then duck a club to east. Possibly to west, but I don't think that matters all that much. Yeah, let's do it. This sounds very, very logical. Okay, cross. So there goes another diamond. So now east. East started with 6, right? No, did he start with 5 or 6 diamonds? 6, right? Yeah, what's his distribution east? Oh, he has only 4 clubs. Alright, that doesn't really change the arithmetic, but it's interesting. So east distribution is actually 0, 3, 6, 4. And now it's a 0, 3, 3, 4. Now we need to drag this whole drawing trumps process out as long as possible, so we will not continue drawing trumps, but we will ruff a heart instead. And now we switch to dummy again. There goes a heart from east. And he has already played a heart, so he's down to a singleton heart now. This will be his last heart. So now there are no more trumps to be drawn. And East is out of hearts. East now only has 7 cards remaining, which are 3 diamonds and 4 clubs. And now we will give East a club trick, which we have to use anyway. Okay, yes. And he returns clubs, like I suspected. So now his East is just down to a doubleton clubs and 3 diamonds. So I win this in dummy. Yep. West is now also out of clubs, by the way. So West now only has hearts at this point. And at this point, I play the ace of hearts, and I think East might be squeezed. He has 3 diamonds and two clubs remaining. I will discard my club regardless. There goes a club. Okay, I discard a club as well. Now East is down to 3 diamonds and only a singleton club. By the way, if East had discarded a diamond on this trick, I would have of course continued diamonds, rough a diamond, and then East would be out of diamonds and my 2 of diamonds would win the final trick. But now, since East discarded a club, I continue clubs and rough East's last club. Yes. And now I play the king of diamonds, obviously. Rough a diamond, and I think the 7 of clubs might be good. Yeah, since East discarded a club. Alright. This is actually a very logical hand, and I'm actually a little bit satisfied with myself for solving this, even though I wasn't the quickest in wording my thoughts. English is not my mother language, I'm sorry. Okay, West has the 3712, so East must have, I said 0355, but it's obviously 0364. I'm terribly sorry for that, but it doesn't change the squeeze situation at all. So after drawing 1 round of trumps, we see the trouble. Yeah, so we want to draw trumps, of course, obviously from West. We cannot lose a trick to East without drawing trumps first, or East just gives West a diamond rough. But we don't need to just draw trumps. We need to drag it out as long as we can by just not drawing trumps from dummy side, but always return by roughing a low heart. The reason for that being that we need to bring East's hand down. Of course, we are never going to do something in hearts. It's just that we need to play tricks before we execute our actual plan, which is giving a club trick to East, winning the club return in dummy, and then squeezing East with the ace of hearts. Okay, so yeah, we can do that actually immediately, that's fine. I mean, why did I wait with the ace of hearts? I'm not really sure. I mean, we would always discard a club on the ace, so why not do it immediately? Now we can do the same plan, huh? Yeah, I mean, this is just another order. This is just an ordering thing. It doesn't really matter when you catch the ace of hearts. We did it at the end. Because I thought we needed to squeeze East by playing from north. So East needs to decide first what he discards, but actually that part doesn't matter since we were always going to discard a club, no matter what East discards, so why not do it immediately, I don't know. Yeah, and now we do the same plan. We draw trumps from West, but by always crossing to dummy, so we always have a possibility to rough a heart back and delay the execution of our actual plan by 1 more trick. again, the actual plan which we want to do is Duck Club to East, but we want to do that as late as we possibly can in order for East to be under pressure after he returns. Yeah, and now it's the same plan that we did. When we catch the Ace of Hearts, that part doesn't matter actually. Now, now East wins the club. Yeah, and East was now down to 3 clubs and 3 diamonds, meaning he was susceptible to a club rough already. And yeah, I like my plan a little better than the official plan actually, because it's the same thing, but East. But now we also need to take account what if West wins the club. Well, if West returns the club, it's the same thing, but what is happening now if West returns a heart, for example? But actually, it doesn't matter in which hand we rough. Yeah, now we can squeeze East with our last trump, I think. This whole end thing with West returning a heart, and so that was a little unnecessarily complicated, if I may criticize the authors of Bridge Master, which are really not authorized to do. But it was actually better, I think. I think more straightforward to not play the Ace of Hearts immediately. To just rough the 2 low hearts like they did, but like catching the Ace of Hearts can be done later also. And we don't need to worry about any heart return from West. In case we still have the Ace of Hearts, obviously. So the strategy is actually draw test the trumps with the ace, and if they split very unfavorably, like in this given hand, where West has all 3 missing trumps, and he has voided diamonds, so we cannot afford to lose a trick right now before we draw the trumps. Just draw the trumps, but delay it as long as possible by crossing while drawing trumps and then roughing the low hearts in between. And then, after we are finished with that whole process, East is down to few enough cards that we can now just duck a club to East. And if West wins this one, we still have the Ace of Hearts. So a heart return by West amounts to nothing. And a, a club return from East is one with the Ace. And now we play the Ace of Hearts from dummy and squeeze East with it. Since East is out of hearts, and East needs to discard either a club or a diamond. If he discards a diamond, he is down to 2 diamonds, so we can cross the diamonds, play the king of diamonds, rough a diamond in dummy, rough a club back in hand, and our final diamond is good. And if East discard a club, he's down to a singleton club, which means we can rough a club in hand, play the king of diamonds from hand, rough a diamond in dummy, and our final club in dummy is good. That's actually quite a textbook squeeze, but you needed to really, really be delicate about how to execute this, and I'm actually quite satisfied with myself. I found this on the first try. Alright then, I will need to persuade myself to do something useful right now, but I'm glad we did this hand today. Have a nice evening, bye. And have a nice Easter, of course.